The raiders of the Sulu Sea. When the Ilanon pirates capture people, they will bore a hole through their palms, put a string to the palm of each person. The raiders were fearless in the battle, even if the colonizers were technically more superior than them. To the western colonists, the raiders were barbaric pirates during those times. Slaves raiding was legal. There's a speculation that these raiders were not savage, as what they are, but they are just merely indigenous people defending their way of life from foreign oppressors. The raiders were skilled fighters and deadly swordsmen, expert sailors and builders of medieval ships for war. The raiders were organized forces that attacked with precision and strategy. In December 8, 1720, in Zamboanga City, the fourth pillar stands. Zamboanga City sits at the tip of southern peninsula in the Philippines. Spanish colonists protect their entrance by building a force from potential invaders. At the front line was the fourth pillar with a 10-meter high fortress. There were local attempts to take over the fourth pillar. Isel Gloria B. Estrada, an art historian from Zamboanga del Norte, states that the most celebrated attacks on the fourth pillar was the 1720 attack by Maguindanao King Dalasi. The king of Bulig in Maguindanao, Raha Dalasi, was planning the attack on Zamboanga City. Hundreds of vessels carrying almost 3,000 raiders ready for battle. Spaniards are outnumbered during those times. Sulu and Maguindanao Sultanates were the two main kingdoms, controlling the Muslim colonies and southern Mindanao. Raha Dalasi attacked Zamboanga, burned the town around the fort. He cut down the lines of provisions for the Spaniards and began war against the soldiers. Dalasi and his men had a difficult time to disrupt the fort because of the structural design that can withstand cannonballs. Dalasi's men were armed with swords, but the Spaniards were armed with firearms and cannonballs. The Spaniards desperate measures to defend the fort from the raiders. They throw rocks and boiling water to the Lassie's men. The Lassie's men fight with vengeance. They really had to suppress the Spanish presence in the peninsula because the fort was the base on operation to check on slave raiding going to the north and coming back. Pirates were described by the colonial powers involved in activities of different tribes in Mindanao area as well as the Sulu archipelago, but there were three groups of Muslims. First is the Balangingi tribe or Samal that occupied the chain of islands between Basilan and Sulu Islands. The second were the Ilanons and the Tausug, a tribe without a maritime experience but known for fierce warriors and political power. All the piracy attacks were carried by the three tribes. Most of the raids were sanctioned by the sultanates in the name of Islam. They wanted to Islaminize Visayas but they can't because of the presence of Spaniards. In Butuan City, evidence of maritime civilization were found in 1977. The Ilanon were skillful in vessels. They were knowledgeable about the stars of navigate and about the monsoon winds, and used them to travel extensive during the months between August and October, the period called pirate season. They invented garay, which became fastest sea-going vessel of each time. They used salisipans to row into the shoreline and pretend they were just fishermen and harmless people. The Spanish wanted to be part of the exchange trade, but they wanted to do so in conjunction with conversion and colonizing the islands. This presented some important conflicts between the South and newly arrived Spanish. Halman Abubakar, a Tausug descendant, believed that maybe Spain only wanted to Christianize Hulu Force feeding them with something that they don't believe in is like oppression. So they go to war and then they are called as pirates. They don't bother, but for them they are freedom fighters. There are variety of ancient Tausug weapon. First is the barong, which they believe that can cut an important in carbine. The kris of Kalis carried by nobles and high-ranking warriors. Next is kampilan, which is at the tip of the blade are two horns projecting from the blunt side, which is used to pick up head of a decapitated body. The battles between the slave raiders and Spanish were clashes of ideologies, Islam against Christianity, indigenous way of life against the enforced values of the occupants. 450 Samal Balangingi were killed. Others were captive alive. They destroyed the vessels and their fate was already in the mercy of the Spaniards.